how knowledgeable are you about this this iOS 14 and this Facebook versus Apple battle?
Right.
Do you know about it? Like, are you knowledgeable on it?
I'm familiar. Here's the thing. I don't think anyone is truly super knowledgeable on it because it's still rolling out. We're all learning as we go, right? There's only so much information out there that we're being supplied from both sides. And so a lot of what we know about this change is just what happens in real time, right?
Right.
There's a dip in conversions. You notice that your pixel isn't tracking like it usually is. Maybe instead of a margin of error being 3 to 5%, now it could be 7 to 10%, right? So you're sort of figuring things out as you go versus a press release coming out and then you're totally aware of it, right? It's not like when Business Manager rolled out or when the pixel moved from conversion events to a universal pixel. Like those were all press releases. A lot of people figured this out in advance. Maybe they got some beta access, or you got access just weeks in advance of other people. This is different. We were all hit in the face with it at the same time. Yeah. And then Facebook panicked. And then
Facebook is freaking out, man. Like, have you seen their messages? They're like, we don't support Apple's decision on all this stuff. Like, I can sense panic and freak out when I see it. And the messages that I got as an advertiser from Facebook, I'm like, oh man, dude, this is something to pay attention to because Facebook's freaking out.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It also affects other networks, right? It affects Google. It'll affect TikTok. It'll affect anything that is an ad network that has a large user base using iPhones, which is a lot of people. But you also have to remember, Android is still overwhelmingly more in terms of devices, available devices around the world. But if you're looking at just the US, I think it's something like 80% of the market is iPhones. So if your primary driver of business is in the US, you're going to feel it far more than someone who has a worldwide business that sells to them.
All right. So for the people who have no idea what we're talking about that are listening, give a little you explain like a kind of a baseline of what's going on.
Yeah. So Apple decided to, let's just say, update their iOS system to basically remove the tracking capability of a network like Facebook and Google and anything that allows you to track using cookies for that matter. And these cookies, which we all know are, they basically stick to your browser, they follow you around and they see what your habits are, right? I go on Facebook and I buy this, I go on Instagram and buy that. And it takes this information and compiles it and comes up with like a profile, right? David buys this stuff and this is what he likes to search for. So it helps advertisers like me sort of come up with a plan of what we need to put in front of you so you have a higher likelihood of buying or reading or whatever it is.
Right.
And so they are stripping that capability back and making it so that the only way.
Why?
To me, they're going to develop their own network, right? Bring all the data in-house, right? They have iTunes and then they did the podcasting route and they're like, oh, we got all this podcast data. So why not expand upon that network, right? So you can see where they just data hoard in the beginning and then bring it in, right? Buy music. Yeah, anyone buy music from anywhere. And then they're like, oh, well, iTunes, we have all this data. You can only get iTunes exclusives now. If you're not an iTunes exclusive, go elsewhere, right? So you can see they've done this before. They did it when they brought podcasts onto the iTunes network. They've done this with just their devices and, who wants to pay for the default browser slot? Chrome, sorry, go, bye. We're just going to do Safari now, right? So they've done this over and over. Bring your data. Thank you very much. You can go now. We have all the data we need. So my thought process is they have years upon years upon years of browser history now and browser data with Safari from the phone that they're like, we're missing out on billions upon billions of dollars in advertising through our own devices, through our own network, that we don't need these other people anymore. We don't need these other networks anymore. They're profiting from our user base. So let's just bring it all in and use our browser on our network through our ad network and just keep everything in one big ecosystem.
So, but that's not what they're saying though, right?
No, of course not. But
what's their pitch to their pitch to the public is we respect your privacy, right?
What privacy? Honestly.
Yeah.
Because Siri is listening to me right now.
Yeah.
And so is every other device in the household, right? So if you have Alexa, if you have Google Nest, you have anything, they're all listening constantly.
I always say if I'm going to murder somebody, I'm going to unplug Alexa so it's not recorded.
Well, either way, just me saying Alexa, someone's going to listen to this and go, it's going off again, right? But the main thing for me is, the surface level could be the privacy. When you dig a little deeper, you're going, there has to be an ad network in here somewhere, right? All this user data that they can apply towards their own advertising in browser and can make billions upon billions of dollars from that. Not to mention, maybe they decide to loosen up on their privacy rules down the road and then reopen their data back to these networks again. It's going to be at a premium, right? So it's like, hey, you want this data? Okay, Facebook, when we merge together, it's not free anymore. In order to get to our iPhone users, now you got to pay.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they can do. It could be a power play for all we know. But then at the same time, this wouldn't be the first time that Tim Cook and Zuckerberg have had issues, right? And now, if you think about it, Google is keeping their mouth shut, but Google's the big search engine that pretty much everyone uses, and then they have their ad network, so it will affect them as well. But their way of combating this is they're going to have their own pixel code and their own way of doing things that hopefully will bypass the iPhone situation, because now everyone's working on their own solution, right? Facebook will have its own, Google will have its own. So I don't think any data is going to be.
Do you think Apple will create an ad platform?
I don't see why not. There was a time where
that'd be cool. I'd be in. I would get on there, start running ads, see how it goes.
I honestly thought that a couple years ago they were going to do this with just
they have one for apps, right? But they don't have one for like selling products.
But that's the part that's confusing, right?
Yeah.
Because you have the App Store, which we know brings in a bunch of money, right? But they don't have anything specific for the musician side because of iTunes, which is kind of surprising considering how much money that makes. And then the podcasting side, it's like, that's all integrated, right? So they could have individual networks for every single modality, right? Musicians for music, podcasters for the podcast stuff. Like, I'm surprised that they didn't build out their own video network. Well, they did with the Apple TV, but it's not quite like a YouTube, right? But they have all
right. That's more of a pay. That's more of a subscription than an ad based.
Exactly. So they have all the infrastructure. It's just the execution on each piece hasn't been there, but they obviously figured this out. They figured out this.
Where would they display their ads if they did create a network? Would it be like maybe notifications on your phone, or
probably
like people
push? Probably push.
Oh, people would not like that.
But that's the thing. It's like, how else?
Imagine getting a push notification on your phone saying Papa John's 50% off tonight. Like, first of all, I'd be like, all right, sign me up. But second of all, I'd be like, I gotta get this off my phone.
Like, I'm gonna use it and then I'm gonna get rid of it, right? So there's a couple things. I mean, push and text are the obvious ones, but that only goes so far, right? That's like a one-off. Maybe a couple times they'll work, and then people just go, I'm tired of this.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like they're going to develop their own social network, because it's like...
Right. They tried that. Or no, they didn't. That was Google that failed at that.
That was Google.
Right. Right. They're not going to do that. And they don't have even inside the browser, which, by the way, I put Chrome on all my devices. First thing I do, a new computer, go to Safari, download Chrome. I hate Safari. Yep. But they don't even have a search engine that they could display ads in. They don't really have anywhere to display ads except for push.
Right. And that's really the confusing part. It's like, why are you going to hold on to all this data, but then not know how to utilize it to make more money? Because in reality,
thing's interesting.
I
never thought of that.
We have your data, like Facebook, for example, they have this data of the iOS users. They know who uses a phone. Like, even if Apple's disconnected, they still have the historical data of every person that's ever logged into their Facebook app from an iPhone, and they can attach it to a profile. So even if Apple disconnects me from the service in terms of Facebook saying, hey, David is on an iPhone on your app, they already have that my last login a week ago was from an iPhone. They're going to use the historical data. So it's not like it's going to completely stop. You also have to remember, it's not like a system that auto refreshes every week or every month where it's like, all right, we're just going to log out of all your devices and now we don't know what you're using. No, there's logs of all that. So I'm pretty sure as soon as Apple's completely just broken away from the Facebook environment as much as it can be, that Facebook's still going to use their historical data to say, you could target these iPhone users, but we don't have the most up-to-date info on like who still has an iPhone and what version, but they'll still say this person has an iPhone. So it's just a strange time. I think it's Apple's power play of saying, we own the data, screw you, right? It's just their way of doing that. But, I'm not surprised. I just know that in all the years I've run ads on the network, there's always been a solution. Something comes along, causes chaos, and out of chaos comes solution, right? Okay, we don't like this anymore. We're going to figure out how to fix it. Boom, here you go. Now, the difference is with this might take 6 to 12 months before there's a solution.
Yeah.
This is not.
I mean, ads are still converting. Like, and I don't know. Is it even rolled out yet?
Slowly.
Okay. So I don't even know because they were freaking out. I was like, okay, I'm embraced for impact, but I'm still running ads. They're still converting. They did take the conversions off of like the campaign page, which is kind of annoying to me because I like to look at my campaign page and see like, you know, if I have a bunch of ad sets and then a bunch of ads within those ad sets, I just want to see it all into one ROAS on the campaign page. And they took that away. And I was like, what the hell?
It's still there if you create new campaigns, right? So the new campaigns, if you create all new campaigns and they all have the same attribution window, you can compile them together and see that number. But a lot of us have old campaigns that are set to that.
I guess that's what I have. Yeah, like,
the 28.
I change up the ad sets. I change up the ads, but like I have one that's conversions, and then I have one that's like conversion story ads. Yeah, and everything's within there. So like if I restart it, see, I like to go back, see most successful ads over the past like 3 months, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna run this one again. I'm gonna run this one again. So I don't want to like.
They do it based on attribution now. So it's like you can compile all of the campaigns that are 7-day click, or you can compile all the 1-day click and 1-day view, right? So as long as the attribution window is the same, you can compile those. In the past, we used to just merge them all together and it would give us a total for all of them. Now it's based upon attribution window.
And how does that have to do with iOS?
I think that when iOS was developing their rollout, Facebook's way of sort of updating their own system is like, hey, we can't track as far as 28 days. So we're going to develop the 7-day system, which many of us were optimizing for 7 days anyway.
Yeah.
But we were like, we'll keep the 28 because it's cool to look at the whole month, right?
I had 28 because I figure I get more.
Yeah,
I get more data.
It's just more data. But now 7 days optimal. So when they made that switch, everything that was 28 day it wasn't wiped out, but it was hidden because it's no longer the.
So they're treating them separately. That's why it's not coming all together as like in one number.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So attribution is very interesting, but like on a bigger level in this conversation. So one of the things for average people to know is, so whenever you get this iOS 14 update, I don't think I've gotten it, but what will happen is you'll go to the browser and it'll pop up and say, do you want to share your data?
Yeah.
Isn't that essentially along the lines? And now most people, I don't know the answer to this question. If I see it, I'm hitting yes, share my data.
Yeah.
If I got to get ads sent to me, I might as well have it be for something that I like. Mm-hmm. And I think most people, if everyone hits yes, then this isn't a problem, right?
Yeah. That's the main thing is as long as most of the network says yes, it's okay.